Hey guys, we're back here. We're doing an LS swap on a 1980 model K5 Blazer, and today I'm working on the power steering lines. Uh, I've got three different lines here. I wasn't sure which one I would need, but what I wound up buying is the lines for the power steering pump with no hydro boost for a 2000 Chevrolet Silverado. This is the LS water pump, and I've got a 1980 K5 Blazer factory style steering gearbox. And of the three hoses that I have one return line and I have two pressure lines. On these pressure lines, I wasn't sure about the bends as far as how that would work with my clearance. More or less, the return line is going to be just a line that comes up out of here and it clamps to this. So trying to match up a fitting with that's not really a big deal. I think this is a 3/8 size line. As long as what you have coming out of your gearbox, I actually got the return line for the 1980 gearbox. As long as what you have comes out of here and will fit over that for a clamp, you're good to go on that side of it. I actually bought these newer style hoses for the power steering pump. I've already test fit these, and the way this goes, it'll go underneath on the back of there, and when it comes across the top, it's going to actually sit right across the top of the frame here. It's going to be nice and clean. I think they actually have a hold down that you can put on these. I'm real happy with how that turned out, how easy that was. I'll still have to make a trip back to the parts store in order to return the other one, but I'm going to get you a number on this here. As a matter of fact, I'll actually show you here. The number on my bag that I have from Orielley's is 71088. There is another number here that I'm going to call off to you in case you can look it up to reference it. It's 354860. Again, this is the pressure line. This is going to work for my application for this 4x4 K5 Blazer, and the power steering pump with no hydro boost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to go ahead on video and hook this up right quick, kind of show you, and get it ready to go. It came with new O-rings. You want to make sure you put some WD-40 on those O-rings. You don't want to try to hook this all up dry. Alright, let me get my wrench. Go through the staggering process of tightening this up. These short wrenches, with this, they are your friend. So, this is a 5/8 open end that I'm using. And it is working nicely in this tight spot because I've got a frame rail. I've got my cross member right here under this. So there's really no room to get in there to do that. But we're getting it done here, so bear with me. When you're putting this on, you want to make sure your lines aren't touching each other. You don't want those to rub later on and cause a failure with your power steering. So that's something else to be mindful of. You don't want those lines resting on your frame or your cross member, anything like that also, where they could vibrate and rub against the frame, cause you any leakage or problems later on down the line. Make sure that they're not in a bind. You don't want them to be crimped or kinked. You don't want to do something while you're hooking this up to pull them and mess them up. Then you won't get the fluid transfer like you're wanting, and your power steering probably will not work then. This goes under the power steering pulley and stuff here. There's no worry of that rubbing on anything or getting caught in the belt or anything like that. There's plenty of room there, a lot of clearance right there, so should be in good shape. Again, make sure when you're doing this you don't have any kinks in your line, your rubber part of your line or your metal line from bending it. You want that fluid to flow freely through there. Get that good and snug. You want to make sure even with this it's not touching the frame right there. I'll wind up putting a rubber pad down there before I actually put a clamp on that to clamp it down to the frame, just to secure it. And that's just going to keep that metal line from rubbing on the frame and possibly rubbing a hole in it later on. I'll give this just a little bit more. I think it's got about all it's going to take. I will go ahead and pull the camera around here to show you, try to get in here where you can see how this is routed. It'll be kind of hard to do. You can see it comes off the back of the pump, comes around underneath. I don't know if the camera's getting that or not. Down and under the pump, plenty of clearance right here, coming back up over and into the pump, the gearbox. So that looks good. I'm really pleased with that. Nothing else goes right here except my brake lines, which they'll actually come right here and then swoop under this, I think. If not, I can turn them just a hair, kind of straighten that out. Something I did that I'm glad I did, I mocked up the motor. I trimmed this section of the frame just a little bit. I'm really glad now that I did that. So I've got a little extra room to hook those lines and stuff up. So hopefully you've planned ahead, and hopefully you won't have to try to grind that out or try to do anything with that motor being in there. So okay guys, this is going to be the second video of the power steering hookup. I've got an LS engine here with an LS power steering pump, no hydro boost, and I've got a 1980 K5 power steering gearbox. Here right before this we went over putting the pressure line on, and now we're going to cover the return line. Again, I'll give you the part numbers for these pressure lines and or pressure line and return line, and that way you can get the same thing as what I've got here. This is a four-wheel drive Blazer. I'm pretty sure that the four-wheel drive trucks will be the same, four-wheel drive Suburbans. So I've got a hose here. This is my return line, and if you'll see here, it's got the 90 in it that I was looking for to come up off of the gearbox and go over the frame. I'd gotten one before and it came straight up, and that was going to get in the way of some things later on down the line. So I've already pre-cut this, but I wanted to show you how it comes in the package. You've got the fitting, and you've got the bend here into the hose that's open on the end, and they give you a pretty good length of hose. I'll try to give you the part number that I had them cross-reference in order to come up with this number, but we'll go over all that here in a little bit. Again, I've already pre-cut it, so I'm just going to pull that apart and go ahead and start putting it on here. I've done this once already, but the audio for my video was real staticky, and so I'm just I pulled it apart, wanted to do it again, that way you guys can see exactly what I'm doing with it and know which part it is, which hose it is, and things like that. So let's put this back together here. When you're doing this, guys, you don't want to tighten this down right away. Just kind of get it snug. You still want to be able to move that just a little bit. You just want to kind of get it so that when you do have your hose on here, you can move it around and figure out where you're going to route it and where you're wanting to put everything. I'm using the fuel injection clamps. I like these a little bit better than the other ones, just the standard clamps that come with these things. So it's a little bit, in my opinion, it's a little bit stronger clamp. It's a little bit better clamp. So That's kind of what I'm going with. Let me get that on there. Let's do this. All right. Get that on there. You want to push it up to that stop on the elbow. Get your clamp turned around there so that you don't run into any problems later on if you have to take this off. You know, there's going to be a fender well up here, and I don't know if you'll be using a screwdriver or a nut driver, but you want to be able to get that on there in order to take that off later on. Should something happen, you need to change out your pump, or one of your lines leaking and you need to change the clamp out. That's kind of another reason I want to go with that style clamp. So get that up there, and so you know we didn't tighten this up. We just want to kind of see how everything is placed and the fitment of everything. I've already done it, so I know it looks good. I'm gonna get my clamp pushed down a little further towards the neck of this. You want to leave just a little bit of room on the end, maybe a 3/16 of a quarter of an inch, and we'll get that thing tightened up there. Alright, you hadn't got to overdo it with that, but you want it good and snug. Alright, my line here, I'm just going to angle it to where it's running right over the top of my other line, and I can go ahead and cinch that down. Alright, we're good to go there. I'll bring the camera around and show you how I have this run. That way you can see. Grab my microphone. It's been giving me a rough time. Alright. So there's the lines, guys. That's installed. Pressure and return. They're run nice and neat up over the top into the neck that comes out. I don't know if I'd covered it before, but I did trim the frame just a little bit right there. I'm really glad that I did that when I had the motor mocked up and stuff. So there it is. And let me set this camera down and I'll show you the part numbers here. Get this all sitting up here. That microphone, I tell you. Alright. This right here, guys, this is an Orielley's brand, house brand, I assume. This was actually the pressure line, okay, that comes out of the 80 model K5 gearbox and works its way over into the power steering pump that I believe is for a 2000 Chevrolet Silverado. This is your pressure line, and let me grab the one for the return line. This is a NAPA line, NAPA brand, and it is a 7-1202, and the number that I had them cross-reference, I believe, was a 352870. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm thinking that that's the one that I carried them, and they pulled up a line and said they didn't have that one, but they had this one that was the same fitting and a longer length of line, so I went ahead and went with it. So there it is, guys. There's the power steering hookup, piece of cake. It's taken me a little while, but it is finally done. So good luck with your project. Subscribe, like, and share if you like what you see here in the videos, and hopefully it'll be full of good information for you and your build. Take it easy.